Hello ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, this is Megneous and welcome back to another episode of Minecraft Dinosaurs. Ho ho! We are back, and I've worked on a couple of things. Maybe we should come over here first. So I worked on, first of all, one of my subscribers, you suggested that I put gravel above the culture vats so that if they happen to pop, and the water comes out and the crazy little zombie creature starts crawling around, the very first thing that will happen is this gravel will fall onto the water, making the water block disappear. I thought that was a wonderful idea, so I'm going to try it out, and I'm going to cover this up so that I do not have to see these holes in my roof. But hopefully that gravel will work out well. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Probably because I'm dumb. But this little guy here, it shows the embryo of a dinosaur, but it's actually not a dinosaur. It is a plant. It is the paleography or whatever the thing is. Paleography plant thingy, because we need a new one, I think. If we don't need a new one, we may already have one in a chest out here. So we currently have two of them up right now, but let's see. Do we? I don't think so. Not here. Do we have one in here? I don't see one. Take care of that. Yeah, so we do indeed need a new one, because we need a palm tree-like thing to make our little area for our Ankylosaurus very beautiful. And fortunately, it seems that this is not going to break and unleash a little zombie creature, so as soon as that is done, we will grab that, and we will run over to our Ankylosaurus enclosure. Yes, hello Thor, I know that you're quite upset that you're back in your cage, or rather your clone is, because you keep breaking out. I'm sure you're going to break out again later. So this is going to be our Ankylosaurus enclosure. It's a little bit small. I think I'll be able to make it larger in the future, but I didn't want to make this hill too steep. I thought it wouldn't look very nice. So I'm probably going to place maybe right about here. Maybe here, yeah. Maybe I'll place the tree thingy right here. And then I'll put down some ferns so it grows some ferns. Not going to put any water in there because I'm pretty sure some dinosaurs have been dying of like falling into the water and stuff like that. And of course our poor Melons was killed by many. But we'll try our best to get melons back as we get some more dodo eggs. Or did we already get melons back, actually? I can't remember if we got melons back. Let's run over here and check. We did get a baby melons back, so that's Melons the second, or possibly Melons the third, I'm not really sure. But Melons is now protected from Manny, the bloodthirsty mammoth that he is. And we also have, of course, Spike, who is freaking enormous and still glitching out, so I'm just gonna leave him be. Because he's huge, and I don't want to mess with him. I wonder if he'll keep growing. I have fallen into the water. Not exactly what I planned to do, but no problems whatsoever. So I did, before I started recording, I looked up some info on Ankylosaurus. It wasn't really anything that particularly new to me. Most of the stuff I already knew. Well, except for things like the sizes and weights and stuff. I love dinosaurs, but I do not know the sizes and weights. Okay, let's see if we can pronounce this. Paleography. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, looked up some information on Ankylosaurus, which we'll be sharing. Ankylosaurus was actually well known for quite a while. I was surprised how long ago we knew about Ankylosaurus. Like 1908 was when it was named. Of course, some interesting stuff about that. But let's put down the egg first. Or rather, first let's put down the plant. Those are ferns. And we should be able to make some bone meal and make this thing grow. Oh, marvelous. Alright, where are ferns? They will grow plenty fast, but we'll put down 3 just so they grow a little bit faster. Yeah, this enclosure is definitely a little bit small. This is good for baby Ankylosaurus, but as it grows larger, we'll have to extend it out here a little bit more. Give it a little bit more walking space. I'm pretty sure it's not going to die on this tree because this tree is plenty high. So let's go ahead and place our Ankylosaurus egg. Kerplop. And we'll close this so it can't escape. So while we're waiting for this thing to hatch, I'll go through the information on Ankylosaurus and you guys can learn as you love to do. Ankylosaurus was, of course, a true dinosaur, not a marine reptile or a reptile, flying reptile like pterosaurs or things like that. I know I'm a stickler for always pointing out when things aren't really dinosaurs, but rest assured Ankylosaurus was truly a dinosaur. Although it was not a theropod dinosaur, the big two-footed, three-toed, crazy dinosaurs that were carnivorous and everyone knows them all so well, such as Spinosaurus, T-Rex, Velociraptor. Ooh, it's wiggling. Yes, go on and hatch, little boy. Come on out. Come on. I feel like John Hammond. But, yeah, so it wasn't a theropod dinosaur, it was a quadruped and an herbivore. And you guys probably know it really well as the dinosaur with the club tail. There were actually a few species of dinosaurs with club tails, but Ankylosaurus was, as far as we know, the largest of them that we've discovered so far, and thus the Ankylosaurids or Ankylosaurs were either named after Ankylosaurus or Ankylosaurus was named after the family. Either way, Ankylosaurus was the largest of the species, coming in at 8 to 9 meters, which was about 26 to 30 feet long. So imagine a 3-story building turned on its side. It would be a little bit shorter than that. Yeah, it was a pretty big thing. Pretty large. If you saw it these days, you would be like, that's the largest land animal I've ever seen. I'm gonna run for my life now. Except, it probably wouldn't chase you to eat you. It would probably chase you because you're invading its territory or it saw you as a threat to its children. You know, something like that. It was quite large, as I just said. It weighed in at about 6 tons, which is about 13,000 pounds for those of you who live in the United States. It lived during the late Cretaceous, which was about 66 million years ago. It's quite unfortunate, actually. The oldest... Well, we've never found a complete skeleton, fossilized skeleton of Ankylosaurus, but basically all of them date to around like 66 million years ago, 67 million years ago, which means that as a species it was probably only around for like a few 100,000 years before they all ended up dying in the KT extinction event. Sort of one of the most unlucky dinosaurs in the history of the world. Very sad, but yeah, the late Cretaceous, as sad as that is... Oh! Hello? Hello? You made a little sound and you have a club tail? You're so adorable. You are very cute. I really love the model for Ankylosaurus. Look at this thing. It's so cute. It has its little legs, and its tail slowly wobbles back and forth as it walks around. It's actually part of the walk animation. It doesn't do that when it's standing still. But oh, it's so adorable. I can't wait to see what this thing looks like when it gets bigger. But yeah, so moving on with our information, as I said, it was an herbivore, which, let's see if we can get a close-up look of its face. Yeah, it does look like it sort of has a beak there in the model. In fact, the Ankylosaurus, despite being an herbivore, doesn't appear to have had any grinding teeth. The grinding teeth were sort of like our molars, or the teeth of horses, except much more advanced, like Brachiosaurus during the reign of the sauropods. Brachiosaurus had some very advanced herbivore teeth. Like, we're talking, their teeth were probably much stronger than modern day herbivores because they had a lot more time to evolve, you know, teeth to eat grasses and trees and bark and stuff like that. So they needed really strong teeth. I think they had 4 different layers to their teeth, Brachiosaurus did. And other grinding teeth were also found in, like, Triceratops and Ceratopsids, as well as the Hadrosaurs, the things that had the large bony things on their faces, on their heads, that they probably used for mating calls and such. But, surprisingly, Ankylosaurus didn't have any sort of grinding teeth. Apparently, what Ankylosaurus did, their own little way to fix that problem for their eating habits, was that although they didn't have any grinding teeth, the bones in their skulls were fused together, meaning that their skulls were very powerful, very dense, and didn't really move around that much. As you guys probably know, human babies, their skull bones aren't really fused together so that our brains can continue getting larger, and as such, human babies have incredibly weak skulls. As we grow older, our skull plates fuse together, But the rest of our bones and our heads don't really fuse together, like a lot of our joints are still movable. We actually have a very large number of different bones in our heads. But Ankylosaurus, a lot of those bones were fused together, giving them much stronger jaws and much stronger skulls, which they probably used just their jaw bones themselves to grind up plant matter, which is sort of frightening if you think about it. Sort of like, if it attacked you and tried to gnaw on you, it would gum you to death. But its jaws were extremely strong, so it probably wouldn't be a very enjoyable experience. In modern popular culture, the Ankylosaurus is very well known, as it's generally considered the sort of representative armored dinosaurs. You can see these little scales here. These scales are pretty common in various animals today, such as armadillos, some lizards, and alligators as well. Sort of bony plates. The club tail actually wasn't known originally when the creature was discovered back in like the late 1800s, early 1900s. They didn't know about the tail until much later, so actually Ankylosaurus, when discovered, wasn't as cool as it actually was. But then we found out that it's actually much cooler with its club tail. So, bless its precious little heart. But in popular culture, Ankylosaurus is very well known. In fact, Ankylosaurus was described as the ancient ancestor of one of Godzilla's enemies in Godzilla movies. I didn't know this actually, but I do remember the enemy, the villain, the evil mutant monster from the old days of Godzilla. What was it called? In Japanese, it was called Angirasu, which in English we pronounce anyway from like Anguillus to Angirus. I don't know why people pronounce it different ways, but Angirasu was basically a giant dinosaur mutant that Godzilla would occasionally beat the crap out of. I think Wikipedia said he appeared in 7 different Godzilla movies, so that's pretty awesome. Yeah, Ankylosaurus, very, very cool. Didn't look very much like Anguillus, though, oddly enough. Alright, so we have a few more eggs that I'm trying to decide. We never did anything with our Smilodon, with our saber-toothed cat. So, actually, do we have... No, we don't. Okay. So, I need to decide where we're going to make an enclosure for our saber-toothed cats as well. I'm sort of curious as to what kind of enclosure should we do. If you guys have any ideas, please let me know below in the comments. Oh, and actually, if you have any ideas for names for our Ankylosaurus, please let me know below in the comments, because I'm looking for names as well. But where should we put our saber cats? Maybe we should put our saber cats up here. Since we already have our little compy and our Velociraptor Thor here, maybe we should dig into this mountain and make another enclosure for our saber cats up here. I think that would probably work. What do you guys think? I think it would be fine. Let's see how much DNA we have. We have some leftover DNA that I haven't used either. Pterosaur DNA. I don't want cow DNA really. Ooh, we have coal. Pterosaur egg, T-Rex egg. This T-Rex is actually going to go in there, which I guess I can use the remainder of this episode to continue talking to you while I dig out some more of our T-Rex enclosure. Do I want to do this? I don't know. We don't need any more eggs right now, but let's go ahead and store our raptor DNA and stuff. Because the DNA is stackable, the eggs are not, so... Let's go ahead and throw our DNA in here, since it stacks anyway. I don't know why I keep all of those broken helmets, but nonetheless. Alright, let's go ahead and go dig out some more of our T-Rex enclosure, and I will tell you about my current life in South Korea, because it's always fun to talk about my life. As you guys may know, I'm pretty active in Alright then. Don't know why I did that. But as you guys may know, I am pretty active when it comes to volunteer stuff. I enjoy volunteering. I think I've told you guys before that generally living in South Korea, I feel like we should approach problems as a society, as a collective group. This is why I feel very strongly about things like, universal health care, paying taxes less for poor people and more for rich people. I don't think that individual corporations should have too much power, and I generally believe that having workers have a higher stake in the company themselves through, like, shared stock and owners owning the means of production are generally pretty good ideas. I think that, although it could use a little bit of tweaking so that it has some capitalism thrown in as well, I'm generally pretty much like a social democrat. In Europe, if you were European, you know perfectly well what social democracy is. If you live in the United States, you probably don't know what social democracy is, but I suggest you go read about it on Wikipedia. So, with that in mind, I generally do a lot of volunteer work because I like helping people. Also, it has the added benefit that as we have a cow in our T-Rex enclosure, that's okay, cow, you can stay there. I'm sure the T-Rex will enjoy having you there. But it also has the added benefit that since I do volunteer work, I can also get some extra points towards my F27 visa, my permanent residency visa that I am slowly making my way towards. But I can get some extra points towards it, because volunteer work is generally something that Koreans want to encourage foreigners to do. Although, despite the fact that, you know, Korea tries to encourage foreigners to do volunteer work, every single time I end up doing volunteer work, everyone's always really, really surprised that I'm not Korean. But nonetheless... since it's near Christmas, I decided to look into some new volunteer work that I could do. Not that I really need that much more volunteer work, but, you know, there's a new year coming up, I may as well get started with some volunteer work, and it's, you know, it's near Christmas. People like doing good things on Christmas, so I looked into some more volunteer work that I could be doing, and I discovered that very close to me, in fact I've probably walked by it before, there are some elderly people clinics and elderly people things, places, Alzheimer's and things like that, where I can go and basically help some older people with Alzheimer's by talking to them and making them feel, I don't know, like they have company. Some of them probably won't understand that I'm there talking to them, but, you know, they'll probably appreciate it. Unconsciously help them de-stress, because a lot of old people in Korea live alone, some live in clinics, some are just dropped off at clinics during the day, and most of them are pretty lonely, you know, they need people to love them and talk to them, so I'll be able to help with that. I may also end up helping elderly people bathe, which is something that I've only done for my own immediate family members before. I've never helped strangers who are old people with bathing and stuff like that, but nonetheless, I'm okay with attempting it, trying it out. If it, you know, if no one attacks me physically and I don't feel like it's too awkward or anything since I'm a foreigner, I'll probably end up doing that. So I'm very excited about doing some new volunteer work, especially in my area. I don't know, have you guys ever done volunteer work before? If you guys have applied to university, you've probably done volunteer work, since lots of people do volunteer work for applications and things like that. It's a good way of motivating young people to try to help out their local communities. But if you've ever done any sort of volunteer work, let me know below in the comments. I know that I don't respond because I don't have Google+, but I would enjoy reading your stories about volunteer work. Maybe I'll get some ideas for new things that I can do here in Korea. If any of you guys have had any volunteer experience with elderly people especially, I would like to hear about it. Back when I was in university, I dated someone who was very, very into volunteer work for the elderly. She would always go to nursing homes and talk to elderly people. Sigh. She was such a good person. I miss her so. She probably has no idea that I'm talking about her on YouTube, which maybe is a good thing. But she doesn't really talk to me anymore, so I don't know. It would be sort of strange if someone told her suddenly that I was talking about her on YouTube. But she was a positive influence on my life, so I have no personal problems with that. Whatever. Oh, the nostalgia. Yes, indeed, Megneous does have a heart. I know that you guys probably already knew that since I think I generally consider myself a decent human being. But, I have a soul, I have feelings. So many feelings. So many feels. Alright, and we're basically out of time for today's episode. Oh, we made some good progress on emptying out the T-Rex enclosure. Good, good, good. Very nice. So don't forget, if you would like to tell me where you think we should place the Saber-cat enclosure, up there or somewhere else, please let me know below in the comments, as well as the Ankylosaurus name. If you have any name ideas, please let me know, and I will look through them, and we will decide either next episode or the episode after that. I will be thinking about where to put our Saber-cats. And of course, in a coming episode, we're going to go to the desert, either over there or over there, and see if we can get a purple compy. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching. My name is Megneous, and I will see you next time.